What is the time now?
It's 7 o'clock.
When is your sister coming to see you?
She is coming to see me at 7 o'clock in the morning.
When is your brother coming to see you?
He is coming to see me at 8 o'clock in the evening.
On which day are they coming?
They are coming tomorrow.
How do you know it?
I got a letter from my father today.
Are you going out with them?
I hope to go out with them at least to the city day after tomorrow.
Did you wash your special festive pants and shirt?
I wished them before yesterday and I ironed them yesterday.
That is great. Wish you all the best. By the way, what is the date today?
Today is 24 January 2020. Bye.
Finding out about the Delhi Sultans. Although inscriptions, coins and architecture provide a lot of information, especially valuable are histories, Turkish, Tawarik written in Persian, the language of administration under the Delhi Sultans. The oaths of Tawarik were learned men, secretaries, administrators, poets and countries who both recounted events and advised rulers on governors, emphasizing the importance of just rule. The circle of justice. Fakhr Mudabbir wrote in the 13th century, a king cannot survive without soldiers and soldiers cannot thrive without salaries. Salaries come from the revenue collected from peasants, but peasants can pay revenue only when they are prosperous and happy. This happens when the king promotes justice and honest governance. Keep the following additional details in mind. The oaths of Tawarik lived in cities and hardly ever in villages. They often wrote their histories for sultans in the hope of rich rewards. These oaths advised rulers on the need to preserve an ideal social order based on right and gender distinctions. Their ideas were not shared by everybody. In 1236, Sultan Iltutmish's daughter Razia became Sultan. The chronicler of the age, Minhaj Siraj, recognized that she was more able and qualified than all her brothers, but he was not comfortable at having a queen as ruler, nor were the nobles happy at her attempts to rule independently. She was removed from the throne in 240. What Minhaj and Siraj thought about Razia? Minhaj and Siraj thought that the queen's rule went against the ideal social order created by God, in which women were supposed to be subordinate to men. He therefore asked in the register of God's creation, since her accountant did not fall under the colon of men, how did she gain from all of her excellent qualities? On her inscriptions and coins, Razia mentioned that she was the daughter of Sultan Iltutmish. This was in contrast to the Queen Rudrama Devi of the Kakatiya dynasty of Warangal, part of modern Andhra Pradesh. Rudra Madhavi changed her name on her inscriptions and printed she was a man. Another queen, Dida, ruled in Kashmir. Her title is interesting. It comes from Didi or elder sister, an obviously affectionate term given to a loud ruler by her subjects. Express Minaja's ideas in your own words. Did you think Razia shared these ideas? Why do you think it was so difficult for a woman to be a ruler? In the early from garrison town to empire, the expansion of the Delhi Sultanate. In the early 13th century, the control of the Delhi Sultans rarely went beyond heavily fortified towns occupied by garrisons. The sultans seldom controlled the hinterland of the cities and were therefore dependent upon trade, tribute, or plunder for supplies. Controlling garrison towns in distant Bengal and Sindh from Delhi was extremely difficult. Rebellion, war, even bad weather could snap fragile communication routes. Delhi's authority was also challenged by Mughal invasions from Afghanistan and by governors who rebelled at any sign of the Sultan's weakness. The Sultanate barely survived these challenges. Its consolidation occurred during the region of Gayusadin, Balban, and further expansion under Alauddin Haji and Muhammad Tughlaq. The first set of campaigns along the internal frontier of the Sultanate aimed at consolidating the hinterlands of the garrison towns. During these campaigns, forests were cleared in the Ganga, Yamuna, Doab, and hunter-gatherers and pastoralists expelled from their habit.
New kings and kingdoms. Many new dynasties emerged after the 7th century. The major ruling dynasties in different parts of the subcontinent between the 7th and 12th centuries. The emergence of new dynasties. By the 7th century, there were big landlords or warrior chiefs in different regions of the subcontinent. Existing kings often acknowledged them as their subordinates or samandas. They were expected to bring gifts for their kings or overlords, be present at their courts, and provide them with military support. As samandas gained power and wealth, they declared themselves to be Mahasamanda, Mahamandalayeshwara, the great lord of a circle or a region, and so on. Sometimes they asserted their independence from their overlords. One such instance was that of the Rashtrakutas in the Deccan. Initially, they were subordinate to the Chalukyas of Karnataka. In the 8th century, Dandi Durga, a Rashtrakuta chief, overthrew his Chalukya overlord and performed a ritual called Hiranya Garba, literally the golden womb. When this ritual was performed with the help of Brahmanas, it was thought to lead the rebirth of the sacrificer as a Kshatriya, even if he was not one by birth. In other cases, men from enterprising families used their military skills to carve out kingdoms. For instance, the Kadamba, Mayurasharman, and the Gujara Pradihara Harichandra were Brahmanas who gave up their traditional professions and took to arms, successfully establishing kingdoms in Karnataka and Rajasthan respectively. Administrator in the kingdoms, many of these new kings and adopted high-sounding titles such as a Maharaja, Adhiraja, Great King, Overlord of Kings, Trivahana, Chakravartin, Lord of Three Worlds, and so on. However, in spite of such claims, they often shared power with their samandas as well as with association of peasants, traders, brahmanas. In each of these states, resources were obtained from the producers, that is, peasants, cattle keepers, artisans, who were often persuaded or compelled to surrender part of what they produced. Sometimes these were claimed as rent due to the lord, who asserted that he owned the land. Revenue was also collected from traders. 400 taxes. The inscriptions of the Cholas who ruled in Tamil Nadu refer to more than 400 terms for different kinds of taxes. The most frequently mentioned taxation is vetti, taken not in cash but in the form of forced labor, and kadamai or land revenue. There were also taxes on touching the house, the use of ladder to climb palm trees, access on succession of family property, etc. These resources were used to finance the king's establishment as well as for the construction of temples and forts. They were also used to fight wars, which were in turn expected to lead to the acquisition of wealth in the form of plunder and access to land as well as trade routes. The functionaries for collecting revenue were generally recruited from influential families, and positions were often hereditary. This was true about the army as well. In many cases, close relatives of the king held these positions. Prahasis and land grants. Prahasis contain details that may not be literally true, but they tell us how rulers wanted to depict themselves as valiant, victorious warriors. For example, these were composed by learned brahmanas who occasionally helped in the administration. Delhi Sultans. In this video, we saw that regions like the Kaveri of Delta became the center of large kingdoms. Did you notice that there was no mention of a kingdom with Delhi as its capital? That was because Delhi became an important city only in the 12th century. Delhi first became the capital of kingdom under the Tomara Rajputs, who were defeated in the middle of the 12th century by the Chauhans, also referred to as Chahamanas of Ajmer. It was under the Tomaras and Chauhans that Delhi became an important commercial center. Many rich Jaina merchants lived in the city and constructed several temples. Coins minted here, called the Hawali, had a wide circulation. The transformation of Delhi into a capital that controlled vast areas of the subcontinent started with the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate in the beginning of the 13th century. Take a look at a video. The Delhi Sultans built many cities in the area that we now know as Delhi. Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly. Good people do not laws. Don't tell me how educated you are. Tell me how much you have traveled. Sometimes the smallest step in the right direction ends up being the biggest step of your life. Don't ever lose the spark that makes you. Sometimes the best thing to do is say nothing at all and let God fight your battle for you. Shine what you love. Never let your fear decide your fate. Never let your fear decide your fate. Nothing teaches us better than our own experiences. To that one soul reading this, I know you are tired, you are fed up, you are so close to breaking, but there is strength within you even when you feel weak. Keep fighting, always. Klein Hos, Wunsch, Osh, Won, Herzen, Einen, Arganam, Nashmittag. Don't be the same, be superior. Don't be the same, be superior. Today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. Today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. Praying for someone is like wrapping them with a blanket of God's love. Praying for someone is like wrapping them with a blanket of God's love. The biggest asset in the world is your mindset. The biggest asset in the world is your mindset. Im Herzen liegt der Schlüssel für fantasierisches Gespräch über das Leben. Someday we will find what we are looking for, or maybe not. Maybe we will find something much greater than that. Someday we will find that what we are looking for, or maybe not. Radio, mein Radio, ich lass mich in den oder sagen mein Ohren werden Augen. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attitude of the strong. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attitude of the strong. Once you are matured, you will realize that silence is more powerful than proving your point. For the battle is not yours, but God's. For the battle is not yours, but God's. Wenn higher die Wahl habt zwischen Bergen und mir, wofür entstehst euer Usch. Bloom for yourself. Always remember just how rare you are. There is no one quite like you. Living a positive life is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs along the way. But if you keep moving forward, you will eventually reach your destination. Ich gehe langsam, aber ich gehe nie zurück. Love is God. God bless you. Good night. Reset well. Sweet dreams. Good night. Reset well. Sweet dreams. Do more of what makes you happy. Do more of what makes you happy. Notice everything, stay quiet. Notice everything, stay quiet. God help me to us, person who sees blessings intertwined with the struggle. Help me to be someone who is content regardless of my circumstances. Help me to live a life marked by gratitude and joy, regardless of what is happening around me. People with passion and discipline makes the impossible happen. People with passion and discipline makes the impossible happen. Be who you are, not who the world wants you to be. Be who you are, not who the world wants you to be. Good friends are like stars. You don't always see them, but you always know they are always there. Reading food labels is one of the best ways to monitor your and your child's intake of added sugar. But how much is too much? Children aged to 18 years should have a maximum of 6 to 2 teaspoons or 20 grams, 25 grams of added sugar daily.